just started doing a bit of research, and I kind of got quite obsessed with this idea of iridescence and that kind of shimmer that pearls have from layers upon layers as they kind of are forming the pearl. I found some incredible glass negatives in Powerhouse's archives, and I found a glass negative of Pearl Bay. And so I thought it'd be really interesting to try and recreate that photo from 100 years ago using the same techniques, using a glass plate. And it's been a really interesting journey in the creation of it. Worked with a great photographer from Sydney as well, Adrian Cook. And yeah, it's been really fascinating to follow along on that journey.
We're just going to get bush underneath. We're not going to get the edge of the water, but it's quite nice. And you do get that ridge that comes down. You get the line on the back.
Yeah, definitely. I think this is the shot.
I think so. I might try and go a bit higher, so we can look down a bit. The first thing I do is I pour this chemical in. This is called collodion. So we've got 3 minutes in there. So that's now turning to a bit of film. Okay, so 3 minutes. You can see an image now. Like what I do sometimes with glass plates is I put tar on the back to turn it into a positive. And that's quite beautiful because you look through the glass of the image rather than on top of it.
We just went there to listen and see kind of if we could capture sounds that would either inspire us or sounds that we could use, and just trying to gather sounds from the land and sounds of the water so that we could create a picture that represents that location in the sound piece. So yeah, part of this is just trying to create that kind of blend between the natural world and kind of this like more surreal interpretation of what we're capturing. Let's go have a look at these glass negatives. Hello.
How are you?
Nice to meet you.
Okay, so we're just going to go across to there.
Cool.
Okay, so what number is it? 1725. Yep.
So is this all part of the same collection?
Yeah, the Kerry collection,
Wow.
which there's hundreds. Yeah, this is your.
All right.
Just put that there as well.
That's so incredible. You can see so much more of the detail. This was taken on Thursday.
Ah.
And so we try to find the same place. I mean, it's quite overgrown, and like all of this kind of mangroves have been dug up here.
Yeah.
But you can see
It looks
that
very
tree
similar.
line,
Yeah.
how it kind of falls there.
It does look like almost the same vantage point, doesn't it?
Yeah. I mean, we spent quite a while kind of just trekking through the bush. It's just so interesting that it's so rich, like even in the negative.
It is, isn't it? Look at the kind of detail around the leaves
Yeah.
of the trees and the bark. It's kind of amazing.
Like all the stuff, like the water's really washed out and just kind of looks smooth because that would have been moving. But stuff like these trees, you know, on a still day, you'd really get that detail.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. If it were windy, you'd be in trouble.
Yeah. I mean, with how easy it is to kind of mess up this process, like these photographers must have been just so incredibly good. Because it's just like, I mean, we found out there's 1,000 things you can do wrong to just ruin it.
I think what happened was that maybe people tended to go, oh, let's get a print off it and show those.
Yeah.
Whereas the object itself started to become interesting because of its own materiality, and these are things that are disappearing. You know, they're like they're special now as well.
I kind of found this photo just kind of by chance, because what I'm doing is a whole sound piece for this audio festival, and so it's kind of like it's looking at that process of, you know, taking the same photo 100 years on and what's changed, what's the same, and trying to get sounds from the lands, and so we're using a lot of like mussel shells and recordings of the water, and even recordings of developing it, and, you know, because you've got to wash it with water, and so we're just kind of trying to build a whole kind of textural narrative around some of those sounds.
Yeah, with a strong focus on that idea of a liquid.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. I think it's really important how we recontextualize our history. I think it's just picking up something as simple as a glass negative and trying to shine a different spotlight on it. I think that the idea that I became obsessed with when I was thinking about this project was that you could kind of like take something and slightly shift it. As you turn it, you get a whole different perspective and all these colors come to life. I think that's something that's really interesting about taking this photo of Pearl Bay and recreating it 100 years later and giving it a whole new perspective, representing it in a sound piece. I think it's something that could be so easily overlooked, but I think that process of reimagining your own history and kind of seeing what is still relevant today and what has changed and what's remained the same, I think it's really interesting to think about.